Each and every one of us all share something in common. For some of us, it can be scary, and for others, it comes naturally. It can bring us pain, and it can bring us joy. It can be heard, it can be felt, and it can be said. And what I am talking about here is truth. Today, I want to help improve your relationship with truth. I want to help you to understand it better, empower you with choices, and support the foundations of your integrity. Above all else, I want to champion the power of truth so that you can be an honest leader for yourself and for others. Together, I want us to spark real change. To get started then, let's look at the two versions of truth. There is the truth and there is my truth. The truth, in its purest form, is a fact, a simple, undeniable reality that is black and white. My truth, however, is personal to you. It is a viewpoint. It is seen through the perceptions of your emotions and your experiences. It is important to respect that they can be different. My truth is not always the truth. To demonstrate this further, let's set up a conversation between two people. Let's call them Richard and Thomas. And Richard and Thomas start having a conversation about the truth, which is demonstrated by the cylinder in this slide. And as the conversation progresses, Richard then shares that his version of the truth, which is his perspective, is in fact this. As the conversation then dives deeper, Thomas then shares that in fact, in contrast, his version of the truth is this. What this is demonstrating is when we look at the truth and we involve others, sometimes our perspectives can be different. Just think if Richard and Thomas then opened the conversation wider and invited, say, Taylor and George to join the conversation. Where would that conversation then go? How would the entire truth form then look? Now, I want to share the potential outcomes of truth with you. This is where your real power comes from. Because wouldn't you agree that we as human beings are far more confident when we know what our outcomes are? To be able to activate these outcomes, first we must be in a position to accept the truth for what it is. There are three outcomes that I would like to share with you today. The first one is to reflect. This gives you a moment in time to stand still, a chance to take stock of what has happened and look at the reality of it. Reflection examples can be, I am happy, I am content, wow, that went well, it is what it is, I have tried my best, and I have learnt from this, and I know what to do next time. The second outcome is to transform. This triggers growth or a change of path. It could be a career change or starting your own business perhaps. It could be trying out a different parenting technique, setting new boundaries for yourself, investing in your own personal development, or simply letting go and moving on from something that no longer serves you. Remember, it's important to completely be in tune with the fact that it's important to look and focus on who you are becoming rather than who you were before. The third outcome is to survive. It's natural for our instincts to guide us with this outcome. It can tell you to stop, to get out, I am not safe, or I need help. What this outcome does is it fundamentally protects our existence and it strengthens our resilience. There are times where some truths can be more complex and we require a little more time to hone into what our outcome should be. We don't always have the exact answers in that moment of time. So we may need to hone into what emotions are being triggered. We may need to ask more questions, fact find. We may need to draw from past experiences or even sought advice from others. Whatever your truth outcomes are, whether they are to reflect, transform or survive, embrace them as your life's compass. Now let me introduce you to this wonderful man here. This is my grandfather, Ralph Peter Smith, or Pet, as his nickname is in my family. And what Pet would do is that he would encourage and guide people to be honest. He would want you to do right by others and to not live in fear. He had this one particular quote that he would share with members of my family, and it has been a soundtrack in my head for years. Never be afraid of what the truth is. This quote is like a gift to me, and it has guided me through all sorts of life chapters in my life so far, whether they have been challenging, painful, or gleeful. I have always had the comfort and support of this quote and Pet's words behind me. I am proud today to share this quote with you because I hope you can take comfort from it also. And I am sharing it with you today as my grandfather's evergreen legacy. Now, I would like your permission, if I may, to challenge you. I'd like to ask you a few questions. So here we go. Are you avoiding the truth about something right now? Have you considered what happens if you don't act on it? Or are you happy? Hope you are. Or do you need help? If you are avoiding the truth, or if you are afraid of it, why? If you are afraid, I can completely empathise with how consuming this can be. Truth isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable and it can be painful. It may even be out of your control. But it is not going to go away if you don't act on it. Remember, if you use the truth outcomes as your fallback, they will always be your guiding compass. Now, I would like you to think about the people in your lives right now, the honest ones. Think about the dynamic of your relationship with them because of how honest they are with you, and in turn, how honest you are with them. Think of the stability. How do they make you feel? Is there something that they do or say that you can learn from to help to support you with being more honest? For me today, truth is a scarce commodity that is driven by society pressures and groups, egos, past wounding experiences, wanting to save face, and not having a solid personal relationship or understanding of who we are. It's really important to get to that fact because we can't communicate who we are unless we are clear on what makes us us. Life is busy. Our careers are becoming increasingly demanding. Our social lives are hectic. Our children need more of our time. Our relationships need more nourishment. I know it can be hard and I know it can take time, but never be afraid of what the truth is. Think of the positive impact that our world would have right now if we all contributed a little more truth. On a reassuring note, communicating truth is simple. Be respectful and be assertive. The art of communication is far more effective if we are more clear, calmer, and respectfully engaged with our audiences. Wouldn't you agree that we as human beings are far more receptive of assertive communication over aggressive communication? If you are a passive individual and you position yourself to appease others first, you may want to address this, because chances are if you coast through life as a passive individual, your truth may be put on a back burner. Therefore, you run the risk of going through life, of compounding frustration and resentment, which will eventually take its toll on your well-being. Let me be really honest with you here, and it may sting. You are not going to please everyone all of the time, and you are not going to be liked by everyone all of the time. Some people don't like to hear the truth. So what's your alternative then? Indulge others in the bosom of comforting lies? Is it really worth you having that label as a liar? Is your integrity worth jeopardising? When you are an honest person, you carry yourself differently. You have a presence of, this is me. An aura of being unapologetically free. Think of the people in your lives who are like that right now, who you know. For me personally, they are like gifts who walk among us because you always know where you stand with them, which is comforting for me in its own right. Be respectful and be assertive and position yourself to live a life unapologetically free. Our responsibility for truth has a demand that goes far beyond just you and I. And what I am highlighting here is the need to provide an environment that is safe for our children, our loved ones, our team members, and members within our communities to have a safe space for truth. A space where truth is celebrated and not to be feared. A space that is filled with support and empathy, without judgment and without cruelty. Think of somebody who's in your life right now who really means something to you. Imagine if they needed to speak to you. They had a problem, but they were too afraid to say something because they feared your response or what the consequences would be. Imagine if that was your child and they were in danger. If we position ourselves to be these special people in lives where we can help others to guide them through to their truth outcomes, that would be spectacular. I know I certainly want to be one of those people. If you were to stand in front of the mirror today, would you go to you if you had a problem? What can you learn so that the answer to that question is yes? Provide a safe space for others so that truth flows naturally. Bring truth into a space where it can be celebrated and it becomes second nature. If you do this, you will lead by example. And if you do this, you will be part of the ripple effect. Truth is powerful. It gives us direction. Yes, it can be uncomfortable, and yet it is also freeing at times. It is a driver of change, a source of positive motivation, and for positive reinforcement. In 1597, Sir Francis Bacon published the quote, "Knowledge is power." And I think this quote is brilliant, and I'm sure you've all heard of it. However, today I would like to change it slightly so that you have a tool for life and one that you can share with others. Let's tweak it today instead to truth is power. Be bold, be brave, and never be afraid of what the truth is. Your truth outcomes to reflect, transform, and survive will always be your compass. Think of a phoenix rising from the ashes and lean in to its symbolic reference of transformation. Just like a phoenix, we all have it within us to make a change. From today, I want you to be the honest leader that you know you can be and live a life unapologetically free with the power of truth. Thank you.